detail was, yeah, I discovered afterwards that both the US State Department and the British Foreign Office had told British and American nationals not to go anywhere near the Danish Parliament or the centre of Copenhagen on this day because of the possibility of an attack on our conference. And I was like, well, they didn't tell me that. You know?
What's up, YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. My name is Elario, and today I'm back with a video and check out with you guys. This is called Islam Invades Denmark. Douglas Murray. You know how it goes, guys. We talk less and we react more. Let's check this out.
I spoke to a lot of MPs that day. That was in the Danish Parliament because it was the only building in Denmark that they could guarantee the safety of the audience in. Okay.
Yeah. Just think about that for a minute, folks. Seriously.
And actually, ISIS called for an attack on the conference, it turned out, that they couldn't get anyone there in time. I'm not in favor of no immigration. I'm in favor of caution and of being careful. And one of the reasons of that is because I see a lot of unexpected consequences. Let me give you one obvious example of the country that Majid just mentioned. Denmark, like most of Europe, had post-war immigration policies that basically invited guest workers in, and then the guest workers stayed, which they hadn't expected, and then various other things happened. Now, nobody was talking about Islam in this period. I mean, it wasn't in Britain until the Satanic Verses affair in 1989, when the fatwa was imposed on a British novelist by the Ayatollah, that we started talking about Islam in Britain, really. Yeah. And in Denmark, it didn't happen until 2005, when one newspaper editor, the editor of the culture section of Jyllands-Posten, discovered that in a set of children's books about the great religions, they couldn't find anyone to illustrate the one on the Islam because nobody was willing to draw pictures of Muhammad. And so this newspaper editor, the culture editor of the paper, commissioned 12 people who were prominent cartoonists in Denmark to do cartoons of Muhammad. Some of them did, some of them didn't. Some of them did ones that were saying the paper's provocative and unnecessarily provoking Muslims. On the back of that, of course, there were riots all over the Muslim world. Quite a lot of people were killed. There were burnings of the Danish embassy and so on. And you know, and I got caught up in a little bit of that. And I was in Denmark for the 10th anniversary of the cartoons in 2015. And I was telling Majid about this yesterday. It was there'd been an event on the 5th anniversary, but everyone who'd been at the 5th anniversary had been shot since the 5th anniversary, so it was hard to find people to speak at the 10th anniversary. And I and a couple of friends discovered we had headline billing, and it was only after realizing the situation with the 5th anniversary we realized why we were so prominent. But anyhow, this
gets funnier. This story.
Yeah. No, the funny detail was, yeah, I discovered afterwards that both the US State Department and the British Foreign Office had told British and American nationals not to go anywhere near the Danish Parliament or the centre of Copenhagen on this day because of the possibility of an attack on our conference. And I was like, well, they didn't tell me that. You know, so,
I think you got killed, Douglas. That's
yeah, probably. But anyhow, but the point is I mention this because I spoke to a lot of MPs that day. That was in the Danish Parliament because it was the only building in Denmark that they could guarantee the safety of the audience in. Okay.
Yeah. Just think about that for a minute, folks. Seriously.
And actually, ISIS called for an attack on the conference, it turned out, that they couldn't get anyone there in time. And anyhow, I spoke to a lot of Danish MPs that day, and I remember one of them from the centre-right party said to me, I said, what's your view on immigration now? And she said, I don't want any more immigrants from the Muslim world. And I said, isn't that a bit, you know, isn't that a bit simplistic and so on? And her response was, look, all the polling shows that 99.5% of Muslims think that you shouldn't be allowed to publish cartoons of Muhammad. So for every 100 people we invite in, there'll be 99 and more who won't allow our free press to keep on operating in a free manner. So I'm not taking that risk. Now, you can decry that and disagree with it, but it's an argument that's worth thinking about.
This video is basically talking about what raised Islam as a topic in both Britain and Denmark. Now, since this video is focusing on mainly Denmark, I'm going to quote from there. He said that was when an editor of the culture section of the Julian's magazine was talking about the 12 great religions, and he noticed that he couldn't get anyone on Islam, and the religions were drawn in cartoons. So he noticed he couldn't get anyone on Islam, and he paid some people to draw up cartoons of certain sections of Islam to include in his journal. And this was met with violence and force. This is shocking. Anyways. But then, the outcome of what he just said is that the cartoons enough to bring that sort of force to a certain place. I mean, the matter of dialogue, the violence in any regard, any context at all isn't necessary. And to tell you that it was that bad, he said the conference was the only place people were safe. And that the only reason why the terrorists didn't get to that place was because they didn't get someone there in time. Like, you can just imagine. All for what? Cartoons? Well, I believe this shouldn't be generalized among all Muslims. I believe there are at least some of them, if they are given the benefit of that, there are at least some of them that are peaceful. So I don't really believe that this should be generalized as all of them, as the woman he spoke to in the conference said. Maybe, just maybe, there might be some of them who don't agree with the terrorists, because that's what those other sects are. They are terrorists, inflicting that kind of horror, all for the sake of cartoons. Anyway, guys, tell us what you guys do in the comment section, and leave a thumbs up at the end of this video. Thank you all for watching, and stay safe.